All right, we're live. We're live. All right, welcome back to the Street Shaman Podcast. I am your host, Shamanic Poe, aka Poe and the Rockstar. And today I'm here with the multi-dimensional flip lord, right? Or anti-flip lord. Which one is it, Pierre? Pierre
I
XO, what's up?
I can't even make up my mind anymore. I'm like in the middle, so I'll leave it like semi flip lord. A flip lord's just easier to say. Let's just go with that.
Right, right. It's however you wake up in the morning.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
I can always shift. You know how it is. Shape shifting, man.
Right, right. You do it for so long, you kind of forget who you are. But I mean, you know who you are, but you could just morph. You're like you're just
Right.
fucking flowing in the water and shit.
That's
Yeah,
it. As long as you got that core, you won't lose yourself. It's easy to lose
yeah.
yourself when you're shape shifting all the time, though.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. So what got you into shape shifting? I know that you had like a childhood of like fucking neglect or rejection, just like me,
Yeah.
abandonment and shit like that, just like me being the weirdo, just like me. I had the liberty of being inside the crowd enough, but just being right on the outskirts to be
Right.
like, we're iffy about him. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
what was your experience of growing up dealing with shit
Yeah,
like that?
man. Yeah, like we briefly touched on this before in one of our podcasts. I think Richard was there too. But like, even though you can learn to be in the crowd, if you grew up in a certain way that's removed from it, you'll be there, but you'll always have like this lens that lets you see a perspective of where you're in, but just from the outside, man. And
Right,
like shape shifting in this sense, I guess it would mean like I guess in the most literal sense, I've always gone through, I don't know, like I guess different phases of how I've learned to express myself. The closest example I could probably even think of is like maybe Bowie in that sense. And even how like Johnny Depp goes into movies. It's like these
right,
crazy characters that are over the top. And
right,
I think from my experience, it's like and it's just an outlet, a creative outlet that I've kind of found over the years, man. It's like um, I just feel like being just a regular, normal human being with one mode of
right.
living and expressing yourself is just so limiting. You know what I mean? It's like people don't even listen to other music outside of their own favorite genre. It's like, dude,
A
there's
hundred,
thousands.
yeah, 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 100%. And I feel like, yeah, that makes you the weirdo, but at the same time, it makes you like, excuse me, to yourself, you're cool. You know what I mean? Like to
Right.
myself, I know I'm cool. To other people, that's when my anxiety starts coming in. Other people start coming in. I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I'm not that cool as I thought, because other people are like, wait a minute, that's not acceptable in this crowd. Or
Right.
you said this the wrong thing in the wrong crowd, and that comes from like shape shifting a lot, and then reading the room, and then you misinterpret it. You go, oh shit, I thought it was going to be like this. I thought I saw you and I thought you were this person, and now you're this person. Now I feel shitty because I know exactly what that feels like. Have
Right.
you ever been in that situation before?
Oh yeah, dude, of course, man. And I think like what happened like throughout the years, like I think we talked about this too. Like I've moved around a lot. Like it was all in California, but I was like hopping through a bunch of different crowds all the time. So one thing you learn from doing that so much is first that you might be weird as fuck. So everyone's kind of doubting you. Doubt yourself because everybody is like, yo, like I haven't been around a character that acts like this before. So then I think you
Right,
after that you go through a phase of like trying on trying on identities temporarily, and then you learn what that's like, and then you realize like, wait, why the fuck am I even doing it anyways? Because I
yeah,
mean, in the end, like yourself, and then eventually you reach that point of like, wait a minute, I feel like I've been shape shifting without my core foundation for so long that you just completely drop out and learn to develop that like more concrete version of yourself, and then from
right,
there, if like people do look at you weird and stuff, it's the doubt doesn't come as easy as it used to before,
right.
and I think that's like being a fully developed person when you get there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, Pierre. I'm getting
Yeah,
there.
really.
I'm getting there. Dude, you got there before me. I mean, you had the psychedelics before me. I feel like I had that experience. I was way more of a knucklehead, way more of a street person. So it was more like street codes for me. So it was
Well,
like somebody presented acid, and I'll look at them like, dog, what you trying to, like, I would be like, what you trying to give me? Like, and now
well,
I realize I was such a moron. You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's the thing though. I don't think it's your fault because in your environment, like the stakes are way higher. You know what I mean? It was like dangerous how you grew up. Like you can actually
right,
get like fucking hurt or maybe killed, right?
right,
So
right, right,
if you step out of that, it's like all your cards are on the table. Like if I grew up in that situation, like I don't think I'd fucking step out of bounds, you know? Like the stakes for
right,
me were like way, I guess, safer in a sense. Like you have to deal with maybe people bullying you, making fun of you, or maybe just like uh cast you out. But it's
right,
nothing like I'm not gonna risk getting stabbed. You know what I mean? So I
right.
mean, I get it, you know?
Yeah, it was, for me, it was more like everybody around me was into drugs, selling drugs.
Oh,
Everybody around me, everybody in the
okay.
house, people are doing drugs, people are, there's people smoking in the fucking bathroom or sniffing in the bathroom, and there's like,
Man.
that's how I grew up. So I grew up like, fuck drugs. I did not want to hear nothing about nothing, because I just
Yeah.
made them out to be all the enemy, all of them. You know how they bunch them all together. So then I missed out on the psychedelic experience. I had to get my whole personality, my whole whoever I thought I was, beaten down to a pulp before I decided, wait a minute, maybe I should shift. Maybe I should think of something. Maybe I should try something different, And then I started going down that rabbit hole with psychedelics. But you got in there when you were 19.
Hmm.
I watched the Jubilee video. I did some
Yeah.
research. Yo, but you, right? So what was that for you? What was that like for you? I feel like
Right.
you said you got like addicted to it. You was like chilling. You was
Yeah, yeah. So that was probably one of the most complicated times in my life. I mean, obviously like you tripping on acid all the damn time, you know. It's like it's gonna confuse things. So in this way, like we parallel in one way, but differ in another way in the same zone. So like you were surrounded by people that were doing a bunch of drugs like in the bathroom, and I don't know what kind of drugs, but I'm assuming they're definitely not psychedelic, right?
no, not at all.
So in my case, it's like a I was surrounded by a bunch of like really rich, spoiled kids that would more mess with like just smoking weed to the point that it becomes an addiction and like pharmaceutical drugs, you know. So like these
Mm-hmm.
are just like all pleasure drugs, and to use acid or mushrooms in a more spiritual developed way was also like completely like no one did that, you know. Like keep in mind this is Orange County, this is probably the most like anti-spiritual zone, you know. People do yoga and they eat vegan kale shakes and stuff, but it's not like shamanic spirituality.
Right,
So by doing all of the those psychedelics that you saw in the Jubilee video, it really sent me further on the outskirts. You know, I felt like
mm-hmm.
have had a pretty psychedelic perspective of life just growing up. Like, or like, I like the feeling of seeing something that makes you go, what the fuck? And you want to like even explore that even deeper to know deeper knowledge, you know?
So you're talking. You like the experience of you doing it to someone else, like you presenting the magic trick to someone else and having them going wow, and then like you like that reaction, or was it your own reaction to it? Like, wow, I can't believe this shit actually works like this. Like, this is some crazy shit. How did they think of this in the first place? Was that
It's
you?
Yep, that's the second one. So the thing
Yeah.
is, like with magic tricks, most people get into it so they can amaze other people and, you know, like impress others. I mean, honestly, I've interviewed people and they're like, I just did it to get girls. I mean, that's whatever you want to fucking do with it. I don't care, you know? But
Right.
you know, I learned to perform, and that's where I get like my stage presence and how I'm able to do YouTube and stuff. But I realized that that actually wasn't my priority with magic tricks. I didn't really care for the performing part. It was more like I want to learn the secrets of this like ancient mystery type of thing. And I've kept that throughout pretty much all my life. So with psychedelics, it's basically revealing the magic tricks of reality.
Right.
So it was a natural path for me to take after being into this weird, like almost like a cult, mysterious craft as at the age of 5 into at the age of 19, another coming of age. It was like, okay, well, let's see what the real magic trick is all about. So then that's how I ended up there.
Oh, okay. So you tricked yourself into submission. You was all like fucked up in the other realms, other dimensions and shit, thinking about just random things putting
Have a complete discipline, and they're more grounded on earth than anybody who hasn't done drugs, you know? So that's one aspect of psychedelics that isn't really talked about, and I did not know at the time. I was just a 19-year-old kid in California doing a bunch of psychedelics with no like discipline with it, and that's what happens. You know, you explore this stuff with without the foundation, you can lose your mind, like thinking all paranoid and conspiracy like.
You were 19, Pierre. You were 19, bro. You were 19. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. You were 19. When I did it, it was like with intention. Everything that I try to do with a certain intention. And that's probably why I started to build more anxiety, because if I had an intention to it, I would put a lot of stock in it. And then putting a lot of stock in it made it like it meant the world to me. And then when it didn't go, if it went left or something, then it would be left with that hole. You know what I mean? Because I had a lot of expectations for whatever the fuck I was doing. But the reason why I feel like I am a shaman is because, you know, I won't have those heart-to-heart conversations directly right now on the fucking podcast, because we're on a podcast. This is going on YouTube. You know what I mean? I'm not planning to delete shit, whatever, mistakes made, whatever. But, you know, if it was one-on-one, somehow I quickly go down that path, or I see somebody's face turn, and that's where, you know, like if any other thing was to stop me from being successful or as successful as I was and slowed me down, was a lot of times I would just be in the DMs, I'll be in the messages, I'll be in, like, since MySpace, I had 80,000 fucking friends on MySpace, bro.
Oh, fuck, man.
Yes, I'm from the MySpace crowd. Like, you know what I mean? I know Broken Side, I know Blood on Dance Floor. Like, I know these, you know what I mean? I was on Warped Tour. I saw Jeffree Star there. Like, I know these people, or I've seen them, or I interacted with them. I know how they act. You know what I mean? Let me just say that. So that was just my experience. I don't even know where the fuck I was going with this, but that was just my experience, you know what I mean, as far as learning things and going down a road where everything that I saw around me was just became evil. That's the reason why I went into psychedelics. So I went in there with the intention of like trying to find love, trying to find understanding. If we were going to do Molly, everybody would go, let's do Molly, drink a beer, run to the fucking club, get trashed, you know what I mean? Whatever. And then wake up tomorrow with a headache, hangover, bitching at everybody and be upset. Whereas I would be like, all right, we got this much Molly, so let's chill for this weekend. We're going to do little bit by little bit. We're going to sit around. We're going to kumbaya. We're going to have a talk. We're going to pour out some shit that was real. We're going to cry. We're going to hug. We're going to laugh. And then when it's over, we might feel like, oh, a little weak, but we're not going to feel like an asshole. We're going to feel like, damn, I learned something. I'm going to take this further. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I saw myself as a shaman. People were doing that to me. They always said, you should be a counselor. You should be a counselor. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, man, I rap, because I was always rapping since a kid. But
that's exactly what the shamanic journey is. It's for example, in Peru, you have the shaman there that guides everybody to a deep internal journey that requires them to throw up and fucking shit themselves while talking and reliving all their trauma or how things went back in the day. And they leave obviously way more weaker because they just shit their brains out and they just explored every crazy part of their childhood. But a lot of people kick addictions. A lot of people are at least 50% healed from whatever crazy thing that they aren't letting go of. And there's a lot of benefits as long as you know what you're doing with it, you know? And for me, it was like, I did have the intentions of, I did want to learn spiritually through these substances, but I didn't have a shaman there, or I didn't know exactly what to do with the information. You know, it's like, It's like you see a martial arts master, and then you have the martial arts student, and it's like Karate Kid. The guy teaches him how to kick right and do all these things. But imagine if the Karate Kid didn't have the sensei. He's just like, he wants to learn, but he's just kicking fucking everything and like breathing wrong, and
Right,
he
right, right.
accidentally getting hurt because he doesn't know what he's doing, and that was me at the time.
Right. Yeah, yeah, because you were young, you didn't have the guidance. So how the hell did you get the acid? Who did it? Who sold you the acid? Let's mention him out right now on YouTube. Let's get him. Now.
Yeah, his name is, no, I'm kidding. Well, that's the I was surrounded by a bunch of druggies in another sense. They were like surfer spoiled kids on the beach, like they didn't do these things because they were spiritual. They just did it because they're all messed up in one way. So,
Right.
you grow up in high school in these situations, and it's not a matter of if you're ever going to end up doing any of these things. It's just when. The drug culture in California is so normalized. People are. I don't have a problem with smoking weed at all, but to the extent that I would see in California, it was just as common as smoking a cigarette. And and a lot of people can function just totally fine too. I was the person that couldn't. So everyone's casually doing it all the time, and so then I naturally like fell into that crowd, and of course that crowd got more extreme with the choices of drugs, and then I ended up getting swept into this mess, and then that's how I ended up with it for a good amount of time, and then I just completely stopped. I completely went cold turkey for a while.
Right. So what was your experience on smoking weed? It was just smoking a lot of weed, or were you trying to keep up with the crowd? Because I see a lot of that happening. I get caught up in that sometimes too if I'm smoking and there's a lot of people smoking, and then people start doing the big fat blunt. Look how fat I'm rolling them. And you're like, yo, that little thing. I'm like, dog, this is all I need. I need this little, that's it. Just a little bit of, and then get in the zone. I don't want to get all paranoid right now. I want to chill.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. With how strong the stuff is nowadays, I don't know. People can just swallow a straight up blunt, dude. It's like I'd lose my legs if that's what happened. Like, yeah, it's for me, starting out was just me and my teenage friends doing teenage things, like running around at night after school ends, just really playful stuff, like play video games. And then I don't know what happens. I'm trying to figure this out, but after a certain age, I think when you start thinking deeper into stuff, or maybe when I started mixing the psychedelics, the experience of weed became way more dangerously introspective. Like, it was uncomfortable. Like, I would get really massive paranoia and anxiety every time. Just, I think, for having an overactive mind already. I think just acting naturally stoned, everyone thinks I'm on something all the time. And then imagine you add an actual drug to the substance. It's like, it's too overwhelming. So still to this day, I actually don't do any drugs at all.
Yeah, that's good though. That's what's up. You drink though. You do a little drinking.
Because Europe,
everybody do a little drinking.
Really drink, it's like with your pasta, your spaghetti, whatever.
Yeah, no doubt. It's not, it's funny because like we get on these things and like especially YouTube, and they expect people to be perfect people. I'm definitely not a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination. So I can't pretend for people. You know what I mean? What I learned, and my best approach is just be straight up honest. I cut all the bullshit. If you say something about me, hey, guess what? I already said it for the most part. I Eminem that shit. You know what I mean? 8 Mile that shit, and that's it. I said it already. So you tell me, oh yeah, I said that before on this podcast. Yeah, I know. That's me. I know me.
Yeah, that's funny because that's totally how you go about these things. It's actually, the more you try to paint a cleaner image of you, the harder it will be to stay clean. What's up, Richard? Yeah, but that's the power of like kind of owning yourself and your past and the darker elements of it. Once you accept that side and you're open with it, other people subconsciously react the same way. Where a lot of the people that do end up getting canceled or yelled at, it's because they tried to portray a clean image, even though they were not. No one's clean, anyways. You know.
Right. We're all animal. We're all animal. Do you
Mhm.
think that talking about keeping a clean image, do you think that, or do you feel insecure or some type of way about the word narcissist? Do you feel like when they say that it hits because we're narcissistic in some sense, but we're
Yeah.
not narcissists, but it hits certain sense and be like, oh, do you feel like a little paranoia by that? Like,
So here's the thing, man. Like Richard has said in his last few videos, the word narcissist doesn't even fucking mean anything anymore. And that's what happens when you overuse any word after a while. Like how, I mean,
right.
when's the last time you went a day without hearing the word toxic?
Yeah,
Toxic, narcissist, like
yeah,
these words are thrown around
yeah,
so much, they don't really mean anything. And in this case, in my personal case, I have come to terms with how I present myself and what I do to naturally go in that box for a lot of people. So I've already accepted the fact that I definitely can come off like that to anybody who doesn't know me. And it's almost like it's a part of the job, it's a part of the game. If
yeah,
you want to present yourself as a artist, entertainer, musician, I mean, especially the types that I'm interested in, for example, like you have Prince and Michael Jackson and
right,
Bowie,
right.
you will naturally want to be a lot more colorful, expressive, flamboyant. And by doing that, it sends that subconscious signal of, oh, this guy's really into himself and pretentious and stuff like that. So, but when I
Well,
hear,
because
yeah, yeah,
Pierre, not to cut you off, but it's because you're attractive, bro. So when niggas see you, they oh, well, hold up, dog. Who's this? No, come on, dog. You want to hide your girlfriend? Yo, don't look at him. You know what I mean? Sorry, yo, don't look at him. That's how people act. It's just a natural reaction. You gotta like be aware of that shit and stop it. If not, they're gonna be like, this motherfucker here.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I
No,
just feel like I feel a certain way because I've been around those same people. And the people that you've even reported on as narcissists, whatever, those motherfuckers are the real deal. You know what I
mm,
mean? Like, as far as those are the real deal. I've been around like 7, 8 of those,
right.
and if you're around people, tendencies are gonna rub off, and I feel like, oh, well, maybe it's me, maybe I'm being narcissistic right now. You know what I mean?
No, I can totally relate to that because I mean, living in Southern California, it's like heaven for these people to run around. These narcs are everywhere. It's Hollywood, it's beach cities. We got money and crazy, lost their goddamn mind. And I will not deny the fact that it's not only them. Like you said, when
Right.
you're around these personalities all the time, you pick up on these behaviors. I still probably have a bit of real narcissistic tendencies, and I definitely, when I was developing, living in these situations, it became a survival mechanism. Everybody around you is so narcissistic in one way. And if you don't learn to adopt some of those behaviors as a form of survival, like you will get ran over fast.
Right.
And I'm still on a path to unlearn a lot of these things and just basic, but still maintaining what's necessary.
Right. Right. I feel like I'm on the opposite path. Although I feel very insecure or I think I'm a narcissist, I don't think I was narcissistic enough or
Okay.
assertive enough
Yeah.
or,
Right.
demanding enough. And that happened with my psychedelic trip. One of the biggest things from my psychedelic trip was that, when people say ego death and all that shit, like it was my narcissistic shell that was cracked. It was gone. I was completely, then I felt like I was a complete codependent sap doormat, loving, caring, walk all over me, step on my face. I don't care. I'll turn the other cheek. I'm, Jesus like, so that was my mind. That's where my mindset went, and I had to build narcissism up because people were just eating me alive. I would go to work. Hey, you want to stay? Oh, matter of fact, I didn't do none of the chores today. Lionel got it. And I'll just be like, All right.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe that a person that was fighting in the streets as a little kid is now 25, 26 years old and is complete pussy and not letting, scared of confrontation,
Right.
and I have my reasons for being scared of confrontation because I know my limits, I know where my mind can go. So I have my reasons to be scared of confrontation, but a no is not a fight. You know what I mean? And my brain just couldn't understand that. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Totally. I went through a phase just every year was up and down with complete doormat, or I will risk getting physical, and it was really imbalanced for a good amount of time where it was like, you know what, you can stay over here as it is, fine, no problem. Like you talk shit, it's all good. Keep pushing me around. And I would repress that for so long that I would act out, like really overcompensate the next time someone tried to run
Yep.
me over.
Yep.
So I am getting a lot better at it and finding the middle ground of being assertive and not, man.
No, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
All right. So let's shift gears a little bit here.
Sure.
Uh, ADD.
Yeah.
You was talking about how it was hard for you to learn because you continue to like dissociate or you barely could pay attention to certain things.
Hmm.
What was that like for you, and how did you build, and how did you learn, and how did you get better at that? Because obviously that doesn't seem like the case anymore.
Yeah. So the reason why it doesn't seem like that now is because I've integrated it so much to my life that it almost doesn't become obtrusive anymore. Like I made a video on ADHD and people got really fucking mad. And the reason why that they got really mad was because in that video, I described how this idea of ADHD is almost a natural result of the overstimulation in our culture. Like all these monitors, different apps, movies, choices is like if you grow up in this world in a developmental stage, what do you think is going to happen to your attention span? And then
Right.
the second half of this video is describing how my attention span is tiny, but I've learned to use that to my advantage. And a lot of people got really hurt because it was, people were saying that their experiences with ADHD was painful and it's ruined my life or stuff like that. But in the way that I've approached it in my life, for example, I've learned how to do a bunch of random artistic things. So painting, design, I can dance, I can make music, and I can make
Right.
videos.
Right.
Because I was unable to pay attention, I was able to hop through all of these things, but now put it into one package for YouTube. If
Hmm.
anything, YouTube is the platform that rewards ADHD. You know when to switch up your content. You can add different formats and different elements, and I know how to make a video and edit a video to keep a person's attention because I can't focus at all,
Right.
and obviously it's not all perfect because I couldn't focus on a damn thing in school at times. Hop in from relationship to relationship. It's not all fun and games, but there are ways to use that lack of attention to your advantage. Another big example is like you're live streaming, right?
Right.
You When I live stream all the time and I'm able to blaze through comments while
Mhm.
streaming, while working like the sound
Right.
barrier, this
Right.
song, changing my background when most
Right.
people have a singular focus, that
Yeah.
person doesn't belong at this job and I don't belong at that job, you know?
Exactly. No, you're right. You're right. Use your skills where they matter and where they count. I
Yeah.
get that. I definitely get that, man. So how do you feel about all the censorship that's going on?
Oh man, bruh, we're going there. Yo, dude, it's pretty fucking dangerous right now. It's before by saying censorship is bad and even like a year or two ago, it was, but you would sound like a paranoid conspiracy theorist. And it's like, what? People can't say racial slurs. They shouldn't say it anyways. But it's like
Right.
that's understandable at this level of censorship where a bunch of tech companies can choose to remove anyone they want because
Right.
of a view of theirs, or on top of that, the types of content that you're able to talk about. to remove you completely, even though you didn't do any racially charged thing or just some other, you know, it's really unsettling, man. You know, this
Yeah.
is something that's been on my mind recently, and I'm really trying to, when I make videos now, I'm 1,000 times more careful. I have to overthink every video as if it's some lawsuit.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Did you hear about the social media app Parler
Yes.
and how they got censored?
Yes.
Their whole shit got taken down from Amazon, Google, and Apple and shit.
Yes, I did. It's like I always lean away from siding with a political party, so I always make that disclaimer. But it's just to think that if all of these companies can just team up and remove an app that you developed yourself just like that, it's really naive to say that that won't happen to you or your side that you're fighting for.
Right.
That's an ungodly amount of power to have. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm.
you just snap their fingers and remove any app that it's like, for example, to go in a little bit more detail, like people are really, the argument is people are really pissed off about how the Capitol riots went down, and the people from the Capitol riots would use Parler and stuff like that. But
Right.
all of that rioting slash protesting was organized on Facebook. So
Mm-hmm.
why can't we remove Facebook now too?
No, get Parler. That's some weird shit, right? There's them over there. Oh,
Yeah,
that's some weird shit. I never heard of Parler until now.
right.
There's people on Parler.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
on Parler? Are you on Parler? Were you on Parler?
No, man. Like I'm not, dude, I'm just like trying to stay as far away as I can, but it's at this point, if you try to stay away, you're still gonna get wrapped into the craziness.
Yeah, man. You can't. You can't. You just doesn't matter. Like you fucking throw a stone, it's gonna hit somebody's glass house. You know, it's like I was just playing. I was just fucking throwing a stone. Like shut my glass house.
Right. Well,
Sorry.
yeah, and like here's the thing, man. It's I've moved away far as fuck from America into Prague, where I thought I was safe on a little island out here. And
Mm-hmm.
then just last week, there was a huge protest, like a MAGA protest on Charles Bridge. And I'm like, I don't care what political party that is. That only has to do with America, and that's on the oldest bridge in the Czech Republic.
Right.
It's reaching all of our houses without us even wanting to. Even if you purposely try to stay away, it's like we're right here.
So yeah, it's all over the world. It's all over the
Right.
world.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's all in our houses, man.
Mm. So I was gonna ask you how is Prague treating you with them lockdowns? Can you go outside? Can you go eat outside, or how is that working over there? Like,
Well, I think the overall morale of the city is like, what the fuck is this for? This is like our third lockdown, and people are being very collectively skeptical. When it first happened, yeah, people were like, okay, yeah, we should wear a mask. We shouldn't like go out as much. Like, this is
right,
crazy. You know, we should probably wipe down our hands a bit more. And everyone was making masks for each other. And
right,
then second lockdown was like, bro, hold on. What's going at third lockdown is like, so I've seen people that are just like are hanging out at their shop now, even though they're supposed to be closed. A bunch of kids were sledding on the park now. And when I
right.
walked outside, you know, like a lot of people's collective morale about the whole situation is a lot more skeptical than it was about 8 months ago. But yeah, they're going up and down with the lockdowns, man. Can't make up their mind.
Do you think that the lockdowns are gonna be effective in any way? What do you think?
My idea of it is that when it first happened, it had more of a reason to happen. It was more reasonable when the first lockdowns happened because we didn't know how serious this thing was. The numbers were going up. It was spreading rapidly across the world. So
Right.
yeah, okay. Yeah, like lockdown for a good amount of time. Let's see, like, and if the numbers change anything, we'll wear the masks and just in case. After the second, and then now the third, it's like I don't
Mm,
think this is about public safety anymore.
mm,
Looking at all the data in comparison to, how we're still able to live our lives and the whole impact of the economy, it just really doesn't equate. And I think a lot of people are starting to see that now too.
right. Shit, man. What do you think's gonna happen from here? I see you doing a lot of things subliminally, nuance. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you doing all your videos. You did one I saw. I was like, that's Gotham City, motherfucker. You did you. I see what you're trying to do there. And then you did the other ones of cyberpunk shit and the different like dystopian futures. That's where you think we're going, right? That's where we're in. I feel like we're already there, right?
Honestly, what other thing needs to happen to make people know that they're in dystopia? Like a flying
Right,
drone? Like do you need like a Terminator to walk down the street? It's like it's seriously the closest thing I think in our reality with the technology to a real dystopian place, man. It's
hmm,
like there's only so much you can say. You can't even be open about what you believe. You can get removed completely off a platform for saying the wrong thing that isn't necessarily offensive. You
right,
have, you can't go outside and you get fined if you don't wear a mask or whatever the hell. Okay, sure. There's gonna be, the medical passports one day and the app checking, and I mean, I just don't. I think that's exactly where we're going. I don't think it's just gonna be like, oh, third lockdown fixed the COVID. Okay, everyone's back open. Okay, we can go back to our regular lives now.
right.
It's
No.
no fucking way at this point.
Right. Right. We're gonna turn into like Fifth Element and shit. It's like, put your hand on the spots. She's just like, yeah. No.
Dude, I love
You know
the
what I
fifth
mean?
element, man. But yeah, man, it's kind of this weird dream slash nightmare come true because I've always loved dystopian things and space technology, cyberpunk stuff. But now that
Yeah.
it's in real life, it's like maybe it's better as a movie.
Right. Exactly. It was fun as a movie. Keep that
Yeah,
shit over there where I could turn it off and walk
yeah,
away. Yeah.
man.
Now, real life, I don't know what's gonna happen, man. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm upset, and sometimes I just submit to like all the bullshit. Like, I guess like you just gotta fucking do the Timothy Leary, pick
You
your
know,
legs up and float downstream and shit. Just
right. No, I mean, I'm with you there, man. I mean, the last few days, as much as I try to drop out, I'm also furious. Like, I'm also angry, and I don't even know if I can hide it because it's so invasive in all of our lives. And it's like I've have the video games out and I'm watching YouTube videos on video games, and then I see a live stream of the Capitol building got fucking smashed up, and it's like, oh, now this platform's banning this. And it's like,
right,
no matter how hard you even try, you can't help to feel like you're involved because it is in our lives.
right, right, right. You're getting bombarded with the fucking information. Even if I'm not looking on YouTube, they'll be like, Yahoo will send me an email. Excuse me.
Right.
Check this out. Capital like under siege. They'll say it some crazy way. It's under siege. It's like,
Yeah.
no, there's a bunch of fucking lunatics in there. There's a bunch of fucking, riffraff. Get the riffraff out. Like, what are you doing? These guys don't even got masks on. Like, they just,
Yeah.
they're the R word. They're the
Yeah.
R word. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. There's
Yeah.
something about them that's retard. You know what I mean? Like they
See, and this is another like an example of the lack of things that you're allowed to say as well. It's not like I don't feel like that's infringing on my deepest rights, but it's just another example of how far it goes. And
right.
like with this whole situation, it's like the environment is so powerful now. Like, okay, we're under lockdown, so we can't leave our house. So what the fuck are you gonna do in your house? How you can only meditate or just rub crystals for so long. You're gonna
Right.
open up your iPhone. You're gonna go on YouTube. So it's like it forces you to stay on these social media sites because there are no other options. Like to the people that can be completely without the internet in a time where you're forced inside, like that's some discipline. Like I commend you. But to 80% of the population right now, we're forced inside. So what are you going to do? Go on the computer. And then what's the computer going to do? It's going to scream at you with all these crazy events that are happening right now.
100%. Especially from a person like me that I've been in my house a long time. I've been fucked up. I've been depressed. I've been down and out where I could just sit in one place like a fucking weirdo and watch something or just sit there and think or sit there. Like I'll have something on, but I'll just be like fucking spaced out, whatever. I'm still getting anxiety from just sitting at home because every now and then I do like to go to sit at a restaurant, to sit at a bar, and it's like, you know what I mean? And we have some bars around here that don't give a fuck. We do, but I don't want to risk it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's one thing to be skeptical of the lockdowns and still go out and do your thing, but it's also one thing to just decide to go party and go get fucking lit at a bar right now. It's like I'm not so skeptical and confident in myself to be like, okay, you can still do your influencer parties and do all this shit. Like I don't want to do that, but I'm still skeptical of a lot of this stuff. It's and that's kind of why I started leaning towards video games. I haven't gamed in 5 or 6 years because I thought it was like removing myself from my hustle, my grind,
I did that before.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But that's good. You did, right?
Yeah. So now I bought a gaming laptop and I will 100% say it's really helped with my sanity in these times. Mm-hmm. It's really helped me feel a bit more grounded.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I play my Nintendo Switch every now and then. I'll just turn it on for like an hour and just go play Splatoon 2, which is just you just get fly. You ever played that game? You know about Splatoon? Splatoon on Nintendo?
I don't think so.
I'm about to put you up on game real quick. I'm about to put Pierre up on game. Yo, Splatoon. All right. So it's basically based in, it's all like fish. There's squids and there's octopi, right? Okay. And you get fly. That's how you get ability. It's a shooter game, but it's a third-person shooter game, and it's all paint. It's all about paint. It's all about getting fly, and all the weapons are like, you got the actual fucking Nintendo Zapper gun in the game as a weapon. You have like everything is just based out of paint, like a spray paint can. You have a big roller, you have a big ink thing, and it's just straight up fun right now. And my character's fly as hell. He cute as fuck. I got him decked out. You know what I mean? He be wearing a bubble coat.
This looks fun, man. Cool.
You looking it up?
That looks awesome, man.
Yeah, it's actually fun, man. It's fun, and you don't talk to nobody. There's nobody talking to you, like, because Nintendo don't really play that shit. So you don't talk to nobody. There's nobody like, like I played Friday the 13th, and I heard somebody like, "You ate all the waffles, Johnny," and it's like, dude,
what are you doing?
Just right, shut off the mic. Your mom's yelling at you right now. You about to catch the ass whooping on the camera and shit.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I used to really be into online gaming. But the gaming that I'm doing now is purely like single player, just because I don't want the outside. I need a time where I'm able to do something without the outside influence, because I just I need a wall to kind of like boundary myself from all the craziness.
Right, I can imagine. Like you probably learned how to do that shit a lot better, where you just, because you get so much coming in. You got to learn how to filter it and like, I got to ignore that shit because I'm going to be here forever on them DMs. Start going through the DMs, you're going to be there for some hours.
Oh, yeah, man.
Even me, when I flip in my DMs, I'm like, all right, this is going to take me like, it'll take me like 30 to 40 minutes to answer everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then that doesn't mean it's going to stop. Most people are going to want to continue to talk. And it's like, I can't talk to all of you all the time. Like, I tried that. I thought I was being a real one by trying to do that to everybody all the time, and it just took away from what the fuck I was doing. I'm like, I wasn't doing shit with myself. I'm just over here catering, being a people pleaser to every fucking person.
Hey, you get it now. You're at that level now. You get it.
yeah, I'm telling you, dog. I came from like down at the bottom where they were like, yo, fuck this guy. Let's spit on him, shit on him. And I did my thing, and I had a lot of success, but the people around me just did not want to qualify that as any success at all. They would pretend like, so building that shit up, I literally had to be no contact with these people. I literally have to be like, yo, I got to get y'all motherfuckers away from me because y'all just hateful. Every time you have something good going on, they're like, that ain't gonna work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're just right there in your shoulder. Like, you really want to do that? That's how you're gonna spend your money. You're gonna invest in that.
Yeah, and that can lead to like a really isolating lifestyle, man. And it really goes to show that I think a collective culture really doesn't push for empowerment of your neighbors or your friends. You know, it's like, do people who want better for themselves and success have to go as far as to no contact? But that's the reality of things. You know, I've seen that in my own life. In fact, I'm a lot more isolated nowadays too, because like you got to be careful of the types of energy you're letting in your life.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's like a lot of people want to be, everything is toxic, and it's not about toxicity in that degree. If there's people that are manipulative, for sure, but a lot of people saying this toxic bullshit is just they need to have a sense of humor, so they're not catching jokes. They're not getting the nuance of, like, even when you and Richard start joking around, get perverted or whatever. It's like the people start. Oh, some people start getting a little touchy about that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, and I don't know how the fuck that happened outside of entertainment and movies and shit.
Right.
Um, and obviously the narrative that they're pushing on in all different types of media through memes and stuff. But uh, what are the movies that you're watching right now, and how do you feel that they're affecting your life, or are you watching any movies at all?
I so one thing that my low attention span affects me is that I can't really watch movies or TV series, man. They're not stimulating enough and I can lose my focus really quick. But if I can watch a movie or whatever, it usually is like really good to me.
Right.
So like I really like that Netflix series Altered Carbon. That's a fucking badass
Yeah,
TV, super cyberpunk, like some crazy shit.
I
It's
haven't
like,
seen it.
oh, dude, the core concept, it looks like it's straight out of Blade Runner, but it's way more entertaining in my opinion. But you have this like chip that has your whole identity on it, your whole
Mm,
consciousness, and it's in your neck. So if you die, only your body dies, and you can place this chip in anybody else's body. So it explores a ton of concepts. It's really dark shit too. Um, and this is also the low attention span thing. They're complete contrasts. So I'll watch things like Altered Carbon or even Black Mirror, which is such a depressing show. Um, and then just recently, Pixar released a movie called Soul, which is an animated film of a jazz musician. And
hold on, hold
it's,
on, hold on, hold on. Did you cry? Do you
yeah,
cry in movies?
yeah, dude. I only
I
cried at
cried.
Pixar films, apparently. Like,
On what? Pixar films?
dude, it's like the only fucking like the only stuff that actually makes me cry is like either an animated film or something really fantasy like Edward Scissorhands. You know, I always cry to Edward Scissorhands, and then there's Pixar films, and the last one called Soul. That one's great, and I'll recommend like anybody, dude. It's the most psychedelic fucking animated film from Pixar you'll ever see. It's like
Right.
exploring the
100%.
afterlife, like it get reincarnated and like all these other things, man. It's crazy.
100%. 100%. Richard, yes, yes. We cry for kids films. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I was choked up. My girl looked at me. She's like, we call each other noogs. That's how we like play with each other. She's like, you're a noog. And I'm looking at her like, shut up. Shut up. I get emotional. But I get emotional like my emotions, I cry off for songs. That's what I want to do. When I listen to certain things, if you don't move me, it don't have
Yeah.
to be like it's a sad song. So it could be a beautifully written, happy
Right.
song that just makes me fucking pour my tears out. Like just pour my eyes out. I'm just, oh fucking shit. Yo, what the fuck? He killed it. You don't understand the nuance, the beauty of this and that. And I'll just start crying, dude. I'll sit there and hold it.
Is
So
it it's them thug tears, huh?
yeah, hundred
Yeah.
percent, 100%. Because like one of the things my brother told me about thugs and people in prison was when they're in prison, they're not in there listening to fucking rap and shit. They're in there listening to R&B and sitting in
Right.
the bed for the most time, crying, listening to R&B, like really feeling that shit. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, a lot of dudes, and they'll turn around and fuck you up in a second, but they'll go back to listen to the R&B. You know what I mean? Like It was weird. That was one thing that he told me that was eye-opening to me. And I'm like, well, yeah, because these guys are actually like, they just did some bullshit. 9 out of 10, they just did some bullshit. They made the one wrong move and they put themselves there, but they're actually emotional people. Or they're the guys that got caught, but they were the ones running behind some other fucking idiots. You know what I mean? That were just telling them, and they were just being the muscle or some shit. You know?
Yeah, dude, Richard's roasting my ass for loving animated movies, but like, let me explain why though.
Oh,
like,
you see it. You see the chat. You put it up so you can see the chat, huh?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Yo, so with animated movies, it's like they have to make these things accessible to everybody. So the core concepts are, it's not just like, you can't just put like my mom got murdered and this and then my dad got sent away and he got stabbed, and then, you know, it's like you have to be really creative with the themes of these things, and a lot of them are really universal.
They're fire. They're fire.
Yeah,
every one of them. I'm not gonna let Richard do that to you, Pierre. Every one of them. Fuck that. Soul was fire. Up was fire. I saw the Up in the movie theater in New York City. I was talking to my girl the other day after we saw Soul, and I cried. I told her that. And Up, it was 5-6 minutes in, because you know the granny lady dies, right? So 5-6 minutes in, everybody's crying with 3D glasses, and you know, because everybody's taking them off to wipe their fucking eyes. The whole theater's full of adults. Yeah. The whole theater's full of adults. I looked around, it's like everybody.
But that's the thing, like these Pixar films have a lot of adult themes in them, man. It's like at face value, a kid can be entertained with, like, you know, how silly they act sometimes, but there's like some really key core human development and like things that anybody can relate to in these things. Like, dude, Soul's fucking great, dog.
Yeah. Soul's fire. Soul's fire. Rich is still going. Don't look at that comment, Pierre. Don't look at that comment, man. You over here trolling. Richard, now you trolling? Wait till y'all get on next week.
I'm one of your best friends, and I'm animated. So this is my world, bruh.
What are you talking about? Richard's animated too. He's just buff. He's just mad built. He's animated too. He's just
That's hilarious, man. Yeah.
All right, man. I think that's it right now. I think that's all I got right now. I appreciate you, man. Actually, one last question. When's that Butter video coming out? The Picky and the Klimt.
Yeah, with Mickey and Klimt. Here's the thing, man. Like, it's just a lot more technically hard to actually film some dope shit with all this lockdown nonsense. It's like we can't go into a club and have booties rubbing up on us, you know. It's like it's just gonna be really difficult. So I don't know. I'm gonna see what I can do. But how about I flip the question on you, man? When's your next shit coming out?
Actually, I just sent some shit to JJ Demon, which he was also another dude that did shit with Blood on Dance Floor. We did a bunch of shit together, and he still has a following, he still has a crowd, and we're dropping a song called You're Not Listening. As soon as he sends it back, I'm gonna finish mixing it out because I was obsessed with it. I've already fucking mixed it to completion. It sounds way better than what I did for Heal This Pain, because this is gonna be my second song that I mixed and mastered myself and produced everything. Because you know, like before that, a lot of my shit would just, I hit a fucking roadblock dealing with a lot of producers that either they wouldn't want to go the extra mile or they just didn't see the vision, and they'd be like, and then we'll get into this like dispute. So now it's just me. I got the freedom to do it myself. I learned the shit. It takes a little while. It makes me feel a little insecure when I turn it on. I'm like, oh, do I know what I'm doing? But I'm getting the shit done, and the new shit is gonna be fire, bro. I'm gonna send it to you when it's done, and you better send me that Butter video. I want to see them big booties. There's big booties in Prague. Is there some big booties in Prague?
Unfortunately,
there's some nice booties. There's nice booties in Prague.
It's like ballerina like type, you know what I mean?
little cups of butt over there.
Yeah, you're gonna get me in trouble, Poe.
Yeah. My girl's in the other room. She might come out here and beat me the fuck up. Nah.
There you go, dude. Hey, like now is the time to learn these kinds of things, man. We're under lockdown, so learn a new craft, where it's mixing and mastering or whatever the fuck else, dude. So I mean, there's one benefit of this, and it allows you to focus on things.
100%. Yo, thank you, Pierre XO. Thank you, my guy. Thanks everybody in the chat for your time and attention. I appreciate y'all. Hit me up on Instagram. Y'all know what it is. Shamanic Poe, Pierre XO, Street Shaman Podcast. We